there was no way I was going to start the show with any other topic than the one I'm about to broach because I think it's important. My first topic today is a difficult one, to say the least, coming out of the state of Illinois. Yesterday, footage was released of an officer-involved incident that resulted in the death of a Springfield, Illinois woman, and it once again has many in our nation absolutely positively infuriated. We are not going to show the video here. If you have not seen it, trust me when I tell you, it is graphic and incredibly disturbing. Sonya Massey, age 36, called police to report a possible intruder at her home in Springfield on July 6th. One of the responding officers, Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson, who's 30 years of age, allegedly shot Massey 3 times after the two got into an argument about a pot of hot water in the residence. On the police body cam footage, Deputy Grayson and another deputy speak calmly with Massey in her home as she looks for her ID. At the request of the officers, she goes to turn off the stove, which was boiling a pot of hot water. She then picks up the pot, and the other deputy steps back and says, "Away from your hot, steaming water," when she asks, "Where's he going?" Quote, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," she says in response. His quote, "You better fucking not, or I swear to God, I'll fucking shoot you in the fucking face," end quote, Grayson says. He then draws his firearm and points it at her. And she ducks and says, "I'm sorry," while lifting the pot. This is what the video shows. "Drop the fucking pot," both deputies yell. 3 shots are heard. After a few seconds of silence, one deputy says, "Shots fired," and calls for emergency medical services. Quote, "Dude, I'm not taking fucking boiling water to the fucking head. And look, it came right to our feet too," Grayson said. Minutes after the shooting, Grayson speaks to another law enforcement figure. Quote, "She had boiling water and came at me with boiling water," he says in the video. "She said she was going to rebuke me in the name of Jesus and came at me with boiling water," end quote. Grayson has been fired and is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. He pleaded not guilty to the charges. The sheriff's office said, quote, "It is clear that the deputy did not act as trained or in accordance with our standards," end quote, after an investigation. Deputy Grayson, just to put this out there, worked at 6 different agencies in 4 years. After being charged twice with DUI and pleading guilty and paid a fine both times in 2015 and 2016. Grayson has worked at 6 law enforcement agencies in Illinois since 2020, according to the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board. Massey's father, James Wilburn, told reporters, quote, "I want justice for my baby. You killed the wrong black woman this time," end quote. I don't know of a right black woman to kill, so I wouldn't sit up there and say that. But I will say that I'm very, very happy that the officer Grayson has been charged with first-degree murder because it was murder. Now, without the benefit of video evidence, and I certainly don't mean benefit literally in light of what we're discussing, I understand how some people can sit up there and challenge it, even Officer Grayson himself. There's no challenging this. That was murder. That was murder. She's feet away from him, in the kitchen area. Yes, she had the boiling hot water. She was not near him. On top of it all, his life wasn't in danger. And he said right there, "I'm not taking boiling water or whatever." Okay, so you were worried about boiling water, even though she was at a distance. You also had assistance there because there was another deputy police officer with you. And you still shot this woman and shot her 3 times. Because you were worried about hot water? Where you were standing feet away, you weren't in throwing distance, you weren't in arm distance, nothing like that. And you're going to sit up there and articulate that the water was near your feet? It's a disgrace. It's murder. It's murder. And once again, we find ourselves with this very disturbing subject to tackle. Breonna Taylor, okay? You got to think Philando Castile, Freddie Gray. I could go on with a bunch of other names. How about Tyree Nichols in Memphis? I can go with a bunch of stuff right there. But you know something? Here's what it comes down to. And it's according to the Washington Post article on fatal force. Although half of the folks shot and killed by police are white, Black Americans are shot at a disproportionate rate. No surprise there. We account for roughly 14% of the U.S. population. Yet we're killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans. Hispanic Americans are also killed by police at a disproportionate rate. Also, according to the Washington Post database of deadly police shootings, Black women are far more likely to be killed by police than other women. So it's not a gender thing, it's a Black thing. In this day and age, with the kind of behavior that we've seen, where we're literally still lamenting an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States by a 20-year-old white kid, somehow, some way, anytime it comes to Black folks, for some reason, the inexplicable happens. The inexplicable happens. This cop should be thrown under the damn jail. First-degree murder is more than appropriate. Put his ass in jail and let the fellas deal with him in whatever way they see fit. This is a disgrace. And a 36-year-old woman is dead. She called them fearing an intruder was in her house. And somehow she ends up dead. I'm not sitting here castigating everybody. I don't think all white people are a certain way, just like I don't think all Black people are a certain way, just like I don't think all Latinos are a certain way. I'm not of that ilk. But the world that we're living in, the level of frustration that still foments and swells within our souls is because of situations like this. This cop is a murderer. Yes, he was fired. Appreciate that. Yes, he was charged with first-degree murder. I appreciate that. I don't know how he had the gall to plead not guilty. I don't know how he pulled that off. Or what is he thinking in terms of claiming he's not guilty? His ass needs to be under the jail. And you want to do what you can to steer our society in the right direction? Stand up universally, no matter your ethnicity, and condemn this man universally. He's a murderer. Officer Grayson, former Officer Grayson, 30 years of age, should spend the rest of his life in jail. And in some people's eyes, that might be too good for him. And I'm not sure they're lying.